Good day, friends. I hope you're doing really well. And just had to turn up my volume there. Thank you so much for coming to this live video. If you're watching the replay, thanks for watching the replay. My name is Tracy Brown. A team of dietitians and we do trauma-informed nutrition counseling and attuned eating. All things helping you eat from hunger and fullness, basically. That's what we do. And this video this morning is about numbers, meaning the majority of the time when we're in the early couple years of any kind of recovery, whether it's making peace with food, making peace with exercise, even trying to, when I say exercise, I mean movement, but even for people who are struggling with getting moving because of some exercise hesitance, if you haven't watched my videos around that, you might want to check those out, either in the archives here on Facebook or on YouTube. You can just put in my name, Tracy Brown RD, and put in movement or exercise, and you'll get lots of videos about movement and exercise. Exercise hesitance, but to summarize that real quick, is basically being afraid to move. And there's all kinds of really, really legitimate reasons for that. So check those out if you fall in that category. However, oftentimes people try to motivate themselves, out of that position. I don't know, again, by still using trackers and things like that. So when it comes to numbers, what I find is that there is so much emotional charge on numbers, whether it's calories, grams, the number on that piece of metal, of course, that we tend to get really, and not just people who are struggling, but also people's, significant others, their families, get really, really kind of horse with blinders on about okay, once I meet these certain number of steps or maybe grams of whatever or number on the scale, then everything's fine. And it's such an incredibly dangerous proposition to think that your recovery hinges on a piece of metal. Now, for a lot of people, gaining whatever it is they need to gain, whether that's whatever it is for their bodies to be optimally, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, in the window of tolerance and functioning well and having good stress tolerance and resilience in life. That's what I'm looking for. That's what our team looks for, is so this seems to be the little range here that your body eats from hunger and fullness, and you don't have to think about it too much anymore, and you eat a variety of foods, and things stay pretty stable. And you're not maintaining that this on the outside. You might not be having behaviors of restricting, binging, purging, overexercise, whatever, but and you may or may not have cycles, or you may not have good immune health, or whatever the things are. But we're not interested in that. We're really interested in what is the range in which your body functions well. Now, we do understand that some people outside of recovery also have concurring things like, IBS or diabetes or some kind of autoimmune disease, and that might mean that your body doesn't feel awesome all the time. We're not talking about that. We're really essentially talking about what weight is the weight that your body wants to land at when you've been eating enough and being not only weight, but also, nutritionally restored, right? I know some people think well, I don't have that issue. It's if you've been restricting to fix binging in any way, more than likely, if you start eating more normatively, not counting calories, really just focusing on hunger and fullness, and not having any breakthrough, binging at night or wanting to eat a snack at 2 a.m, those kind of things, if that stuff's still happening to you, you're definitely under eating, and there's a good chance you might not weigh enough for what your body needs you to do to thrive. So I guess that's where it is. It's a lot of times, the weight that our bodies want to be at are usually not where we want them to be at. And oftentimes we think, especially if we're doing any kind of recovery process later in life, 40s and 50s and up, usually our bodies are just naturally going to be different than they were before this stuff started anyway, maybe our teens or 20s, maybe even 30s. There's lots of things that increase our body's weight holding abilities naturally, and that's not a bad thing. It's just that our culture tells us that that's not an okay thing to do, which is to grow up and be the body that your body wants to be in whatever season of life you're in. So, yeah, so if you're somebody who's tracking, tracking steps, tracking macros, tracking calories, all that stuff, you might find that those things like accidentally or incidentally hold you back because there's still some belief system around that. There's still some attachment to it. There's still some fear that I won't be fit enough if I don't use my tracker, whatever it is that's going on. You're going to find that actually it does end up prolonging your recovery. Now, the good news is that as you get along in your recovery, one of our missions is to help people be able to see these numbers. Not that you would, but occasionally if you go to the doctor and, maybe you've been, 5 or 10 years out of this and you're like, yeah, I usually don't let them weigh me anyway, but if I do, I don't care what the number is. You want to be able to see that number on the scale or on that piece of paper when you leave and be like, oh, okay, that's information. That's what I thought. Or like, oh, it's more or less than I thought, but okay. We really want to get to the place where we have that much neutrality. It's like, oh, it's just like this is a pink pen. That number on the scale or how many steps you happen to see you walk that day. Oh, interesting. Okay, that pen is pink. And I know some people are like, that can't happen. No way. We see it happen all the time. That's part of recovery, is being able to hold really lightly these numbers, this information, and it doesn't have an emotional charge. It's just information. Now, again, this is not talking about other health indices. We're not talking about those kind of numbers. Of course, if your A1C is higher, your cholesterol's whatever, then we work on some behavioral interventions for that. But again, we don't have to track, and especially even tracking health indicators. Those make people fall back into obsessive compulsive behaviors and anxiety too. So it's like you get the information you need and you let it go. And so I would love to hear in the comments below from you all. Those here live, thank you for watching live. But those watching on the replay, what are some numbers you're having a hard time letting go of? It could be the number on the scale, that it's still attached to some number from 5 or 20 or whatever years ago that you think that you have associated with an easier time in life, or that step tracker. If you're not quite at the stage where you can just some days I move more, some days I move less. I have activities I like to do, and I trust all that. If you're not at that place yet, then put that below. Where are you having a hard time letting go of? So important. And I'm just giggling a little bit because I can't remember how long ago I talked with somebody about this. It's definitely not somebody that's a current or recent client or anything, but I know there was some level of working on body-based, hunger, fullness, eating and all that, and noticing and tracking and all that. When I say tracking, what I mean is you're paying attention to yourself, right? You're not tracking mentally. You're tracking with awareness of is this working for me? How's this making me feel? Does this way of eating feel supportive physically, mentally, emotionally, even spiritually? If that's all a go, you're good. You're just bringing awareness to that. But a person was like, okay, well, I'm doing this hunger fullness thing, but am I eating too many calories? I'm like, wait, what? What are we doing here? It's, especially if you're not in a place of needing to, nutritionally rehabilitate and purposely, gain a good bit of weight to get your body healthy again, for your organ systems to function correctly. Maybe you're somewhere middle or end down the road, but you're still holding on to thinking that knowing the number is going to be some kind of mental relief, or you're doing it right. We're missing the point, of we don't need to know how many calories. I don't know how many calories was in the pumpkin bread that I ate this morning. Have no idea. I don't know. And it's not relevant, because what I'm checking inside with, it's that wasn't a large breakfast. It was a big piece and had lots of seeds and extra butter crumble, brown sugar on top. It was delicious. My daughter did awesome with it, but could have used some more stuff with it, but didn't do that yet because I know I have some space after this video to eat some more food, which is what I'm going to do here soon. So it was enough to get me by, to get a few things done, get this video going, and be here with you guys. And then basically breakfast part 2. This is what will be happening soon. So I don't need to know the calories. I know what it is like inside, and that's what I'm gauging the need to eat more next off of, right? Now again, if you're a person who's trying to renourish, sometimes you're not just doing that. You're eating it, but basically, based on a meal plan, as much as you can, because you want to get to renourishment, as quickly as you can, because you get your all your full functioning back, So, but I know that we all go at our own pace, and that's okay too. But anyway, just a quick reminder that numbers aren't an indicator of what you're trying to accomplish here. And I know that's reprogramming to our diet cultured, traumatized brains, but that's the truth and that's the reality. So if you have anything that you want to chat down in the comments below, please do that now. Share this with a friend who is struggling with like letting go of the trackers and the counting, thinking that that's what's making them feel secure and that's I got it right. And what you see is like what seems like control actually looks very out of control, right? And so that's what we're here to talk about is your holding on to numbers actually holding on to you. So we'll talk more about this in Wednesday's video, but for now, have a really great rest of your day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye for now.